Hello and welcome back. I'm Nicole, the Cottage Witch, and I have made a couple of decks for myself and I wanted to show them on this channel. Not because I'm trying to sell them or anything, although I will link the Make Playing Cards links down below in case anybody's interested, but just because I'm excited about them. So, what am I going to start with? The Runic or Journey Oracle. So this is a collage deck. I think there are 24 runes in the card, so this is only 48 cards in that case. So they repeat because one set has the keywords, the names and the keywords, and the other set just has the rune and the collage. So basically what I did, and I've still got to finish these, as in put a finish on them so they actually don't fall apart, because they're starting to a little bit, is I made collages on these cards, and then from my notes, reading a couple of books about them, Call of the Runes mostly, picked some keywords, and then, whoops, I had made a set of runes just out of stones that I found, and so this is not the correct rune, but I made a set of runes for myself ages ago, and then, but there were always some that I could never for the life of me remember what they meant. So I matched them up with the cards, took some pictures, and that's the result. The coloring is a little bit different, but I think I'm okay with that. We'll see as I go. So this is the original set of 24 collages, so it's quite thick, and I've got to put a finishing coat on it so that it doesn't, because some of them are starting to peel up a little bit. And I haven't done that because the medium that I hadn't used in so many years that it was all dried out, so I had to order some new stuff. Anyway, that's that. Whoops, burn box. I was wondering why it didn't fit very well in there. Whoops. So yes, this is the box I got made. So this is basically the back part of the, I made a collage for the back and then expanded parts of some of them for the box, which I'd never done with Make Playing Cards before, so that was quite fun. So anyway, I'll just flip through these and then, yeah, that's what I'll do. I haven't done one of these, like a tarot flip through, in a while, so I'm slightly out of practice. But anyway, here we go. So this is Fehu. I'm not always, I know how to pronounce them, but I don't always remember how to pronounce them. Like, I've heard all the words pronounced properly before. Anyway, there's arrows. I also didn't make the backs reversible because I just don't care to, and because that's not really a thing in runes the way I use them, so, or the way I'm considering using them and the way I'd use these cards, so that's okay. So these ones with the keywords are going to be my study version of the deck, and then this would be the one I'd pull a card from if I were to do that, or test myself on if I were to do that, to see if I could remember. This one I remember all the time. That's a favorite, but yeah. So there's Hagalaz for hail. And so the first word is the actual meaning of the word, and then the subsequent lines are interpretive meanings. So Issa actually translates to ice, but the interpretations of the runes that people tend to use. I really enjoy this collage. Is that weird? Because I made it? Maybe it's a little bit weird. And Yera is actually year, but it's also used to mean harvest and seasons of plenty. So that's how that's done. If there are debated meanings, yew or yggdrasil, which is usually considered an ash tree, which is why I don't have a yew tree. That's not an ash tree. It's just a tree that I found. I think it's a spruce tree. And these are totally analog collage, so I was just working with the collage materials that I have, which is not the same as what might be available if I were to do a digital collage with internet imagery. But I really just wanted the old school cut and paste feel. The cardstock, I guess I should say, I think this is the, I can't remember what they call it. It's not the regular. Superior, Supreme, I don't know, something like that. Cardstock, deluxe, some sort of adjective like along those lines. That's not quite the regular cardstock. But it feels perfectly good. It's not linen because, I'll get into that later actually when I get to the herbalism deck. Because I've tried their linen before. And yeah, that's, oh yeah, sometimes this is the last one. Sometimes this is the last one. So I went on the order that they were in the Call of the Runes book, which was my reference book, which if I remember I'll link below because it's very good. And he's got a YouTube channel where he's gone all the way through up to the sun so far. So that's my rune deck set now, which is very exciting. And then I made a herbalism tarot. So I had made one previously as a series of flashcards, sort of experimental. I was going through the Fortune's Wheelhouse podcast, which is phenomenal if you haven't listened to it. It's brilliant. To learn the tarot, and then I've got a bunch of herbalism study books to learn herbalism. And so I made the quartz, I didn't assign plants to, but for all the other ones, I assigned a plant and came up with, like, consolidated from all my books, herbalism information, and then had the picture on the front. Anyway, so the, goldenrod is on the front. However, there were things about it I didn't like. I didn't like that I'd tried something for the court cards, which I'm not going to explain the reasoning behind because I didn't stick to it. But I didn't like, actually, I like it, the idea in theory, but I didn't like using it in practice, so I ditched that. But here's the Ten of Pentacles, Bearberry, and the associations, and then the herbal remedies. And then the picture on the front. So a few other things I didn't like. I had decided to try not having anything on the front and just use them as flashcards and see if I could remember. But I decided I didn't like not having the tarot association and the plant name on the front. So I'm still considering making another version where this herbalism stuff is on the back as herbalism flashcards. But yeah, the fronts were totally blank, and I just decided, meh, I'm not sure about that. So this was round 1 or version 1 of my herbalism tarot. And this one, the Prairie Herbalist tarot, this is the picture from the back, which is also not reversible, but I don't reverse cards, but it's like, I don't know, fairly neutral, I think. So for this one, I changed some of the plants, assigned plants to the court cards, put the name of the plant on the top and the tarot card name on the bottom. And also retook a bunch of pictures. So in this one, originally, there were about 12 pictures that weren't mine, which meant I wouldn't have been able to list it on Make Plant Cards if anybody else had been interested. And also, I wasn't satisfied with some of my photography either. So I redid, get that out of the way, a lot of them. So I'll just flip through them here. I didn't, so this is the back. I didn't keep the herbalism uses on the back. But for the ones I changed, which is about 10 or 12, I think, I'll compile that probably sometime this winter when I have time, which I don't right now, but sometime when I'm snowed in. I do still want to do that and make myself like a little like PDF guidebook that's for the herbalist actual uses from various cultures. They focus mostly on European and North American and indigenous to North America uses, because that's where most of these plants are from. They're all plants that I have photographed, usually in Alberta or BC, or like on my balcony. That is from my balcony. This is from the park across the street. This is also from my balcony. It's so cute. I love the yarrow, the little baby yarrows. They're adorable. So I still do want to finish that as a sort of PDF guidebook. I didn't want to wait to do that, to print this though, because I wanted to test it out and make sure I liked everything. I was just getting too impatient to wait until that was ready to have this printed. Horsetail is one of my favorite plants, and the reason I chose it for the Hanged Man is because it totally changed my perspective on what a plant is, because it is older than every flowering plant on Earth. And at the time when it existed, before there were flowering plants, I can't remember how many millions of years ago this is, it was as tall as some cedar trees. Like, it was massive, and now it's like as tall as an asparagus stalk. It's quite adorable, but it's changed dramatically. Very good source of minerals though, if you get it in the spring. So yeah, I did change a few things that I just weren't working with me in the original deck. There are bee forewarned bugs in some of them, so there's a bee in this one. I think there's an ant in one of them and a ladybug in one of them, because there are just bugs on plants sometimes. That's how the world works. The elder was feeling very dramatic that day. These are Canadian violets, if you're wondering why they're white and not violet. I was hoping to get a picture of the flowers, but I missed. I picked the flowers and then thought, oh, I should have taken a picture of the flowers. I'm an idiot. Oh well. I do have to go harvest the nettle too on my balcony. It's overrunning the place. Which, I mean, is not a bad problem, although I keep getting stung by it. But that's why I've got plantain right next to it, so, you know, oh well. Oh, and I'm gonna try planting my sunflowers in the fall after the frost starts this year. Let's see if that works any better. I do also want to make, oh, there's the ladybug on the goldenrod. They do like goldenrod an awful lot. We were collecting seeds from goldenrod for a seed, for like a ecological restoration project a few weeks ago, and there were so many ladybugs, even in the goldenrod's gone to seed. It was amazing. I love ladybugs. The only bug I wish I could have gotten a picture of for this somehow was a dragonfly. Didn't happen. This is the plant everybody should use instead of cotton Easter, because cotton Easter is not native to like anywhere in North America, I don't think. And people use it for shrubs, and then it escapes their front lawns. But this is a native one that's really very similar, and beautiful and native, and doesn't. And if it escapes, it's not going to cause problems. The rowan looks so like felt, like in that light. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I'm going to make a winter version of this. I've started collecting photos of some of these same plants in the winter or in the fall, when things are starting to die and decay and get covered in ice and snow and everything. So like if this is the spring summer version of the Prairie Herbalist Tarot, I want another version that is the fall winter version. So this is compost, and that would be more like what the fall winter one would be like. Because it is important for a lot of these plants that they have. I mean, some of them don't overwinter, but the ones that do need a cold season. That is important. And it's becoming difficult for like apple trees and things that aren't getting a long enough, cold enough season to know when to bud out in the spring. That's becoming more and more of a problem with climate change and whatnot. So yeah, cheerful news, but you know, it's important, I think. And I love these plants, so I want them to, well, this is a weed, so you know, pick as much of that as you want. But generally I want the plants to do well. This is a native plant, actually. Flax grows natively around here. It's so beautiful. Flowers are very delicate and pretty. This is from the hawthorn across the street as well. It's one of my favorite trees. And I chose this one of a poplar because I like this picture, but also because the buds are what I use to make a muscle salve, a balm of Gilead sort of style of salve for muscle pain, which I have not a small amount of these days, so that's handy. The feverfew is also overrun my balcony. It's a bit bananas. Cow parsnip you do have to be careful with because the sap can cause your skin to be photosensitized and burn and even blister, so wear gloves around that one. It is a bit hard to find here. It should be, I feel like it should be easier to find, but you can, now that I know what I'm looking for, you can find it. This one also has become hard to find because the wheat farmers don't like it because it carries part of a fungus that destroys wheat, which is not amazing. Also native, there's a native licorice in North America, which I did not know, which I will have to try using for colds and things, because I know it's studied quite a lot in India. Some of these, all of these keywords are very much inspired by the Fortune's Wheelhouse podcast, so I'll link them below as well. So if it seems strange that I guess I should say the court cards go from king is the elder, queen is healer, knight is defender, and page is learner. It's totally, because I wanted it to be totally gender neutral. I didn't want that to be a part of it at all. And if it looks like they contain more details, it's because they do, and the learner most of all, because the way they did it in the Fortune's Wheelhouse podcast was in this order, and with the page or princess as the culminating sort of card of whatever suit. So that's the reason for that. But yeah, it's heavily inspired by what I've learned on that podcast, which is just, they knocked that one right out of the park. It's brilliant. Also the book, Tarot Deciphered. I think that's what it's called. That kind of is the written version of it. Very good as well. I had to plant oats this year to get pictures of oats because I couldn't find any. This picture I also really like of the chickweed, their little chickweed forest. They will also overrun my balcony given half a chance. There's echinacea, which should be native around here, but it's been so over-harvested in the wild that I've never seen it in the wild ever once, which is really tragic in my opinion. Bearberry makes a gorgeous tea, especially for pathworking. Juniper and ash is the learner of pentacles. And then one other thing I guess I should say about the majors, some of them I did rename. So I went with Awakening instead of Judgment, which I feel, because I use St. John's wort as a supplement for depression and anxiety, it does help me to get to the other side of that, hence Awakening. What else did I change? I feel like Wormwood enjoys itself as the tower. The Hanged One instead of the Hanged Man. Chariot, the Lovers, the Hierophant. Okay, just these ones. So the Emperor is the guardian. The Empress is the creator, the High Priestess is the Oracle, the Magician is the Witch. So those 4 I changed as well. So those 4 awakening, and then the quartz to make everything gender irrelevant. Because I just didn't want that to be something that I thought about as I was using these, although I know some plants are gendered. But anyway, those are my decks. I'm very excited about them. I don't know if anybody else will be excited about them, and that's not really the point. Like, I didn't make it to sell or anything like that. I just made it because I wanted them, and I love them, and I'm very excited about them. So anyway, that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.